I'm Ted Schumacher from Deadfoot Arms LLC. Today we're going to show you the assembly of the Deadfoot Arms modified cycle system with folding stock adapter. First thing, safety first. Make sure, as we have done, you clear your weapon, double check to ensure there's no rounds in the mag well or in the chamber. Wear eye pro and any other protection you see fit. Springs are under tension, so we want to make sure we don't lose an eye here. After checking it, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove the upper assembly from the lower receiver. Now this entire assembly process is only going to take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on your experience with the rifle. All you're going to need is a buttstock wrench. So I'm going to remove the upper assembly and set it to the side. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove the plunger and spring. Set that aside. You no longer need that. Next we're going to go ahead and remove the buttstock. You're going to do this by loosening up the castle nut, screw it back a little bit. Then you're going to start unscrewing the buttstock. As you do this, I want you to hold the plate in place and the buffer retaining pin. We don't want to lose those. You can hold on to them. So unscrew your assembly. Take the buttstock, set it aside, take your plate off, remove your buffer retainer and spring, set that aside. You no longer need that as well. You don't need your end plate. This whole time there's a spring D10 pin in here. We want to make sure that we don't lose those because we will be using those again. Once you have that done, you can set it aside. You need to remove your standard bolt carrier group. Go ahead and set that aside. Now that the system is taken down, we're ready to prepare the Deadfoot Arms modified cycle system. Now we're going to open up our box. And pull out our parts. Quick explanation of parts. You have your bolt carrier group cut down to length. You have your short buffer tube, folding block, folding arm, the entire folding mechanism. We have our end plug. We have our recoil spring, our buffer spring, and our plunger system. Okay, first we're going to take the lower receiver. We're going to attach folding stock assembly with the short buffer tube. What we want to do first is just start the threads on the short buffer tube so we know everything's in line. Once we have it started, I'm going to go ahead and line up the hole in the folding stock block into the hole in the lower receiver. I'm going to ensure that the spring doesn't get bent as I bring it down. From there I'm going to go ahead and screw it in the rest of the way by hand. Once we have it hand tight, we can go ahead and tighten it up with the armor's wrench. Apply it to the threads. Twist it, ensure it's tight. Then we're good. Next, we're going to attach our original buttstock. You can utilize any buttstock that'll attach into the AR-15. Right here we have the standard one we took off. We're going to go ahead and make sure you have your castle nut on. Then your regular buffer tube will just screw right in. Go ahead and get it lined up straight. Tighten your castle nut by hand, making sure everything's straight. Go ahead and give it a little tighten with that. Once we have the entire system assembled, We'll deploy the stock and fully tighten it, making sure everything's straight and in line. Now that we have the buttstock attached to the folding stock mechanism, we're going to go ahead and attach the upper receiver to the lower. Before we insert the bolt carrier group and spring assembly, kind of give you a little explanation of how it works. You have a shortened buffer group, bolt carrier group. You have your buffer spring and your plunger, which sits inside, goes next. Then your recoil spring goes inside the plunger. Your guide rod and end cap finishes out the assembly. This is how it cycles inside itself. So when you put it together, you have to follow the same procedure when assembling. It's very simple. First thing we're going to do is pull up the charging handle a little bit, give our bolt carrier a little flick, drop in the modified bolt carrier, close the upper receiver, put the takedown pin in, and like I said, we simply insert the buffer spring in the plunger, drop it in, put in the recoil spring inside that plunger, take the guide rod and the end cap. What I like to do is cup it like this, bring the whole system together, get it lined up, give it a little twist to get started, bring it all the way in, get it hand tight so you know it locks in. And then your group's assembled. You can bring the folding stock out, lock it up, make sure your buttstock is completely straight. Bring your buttstock wrench while holding it in place and give it that last little tweak to make sure it's tight. Once everything's tight, your system's ready to go. Feel free to check your recoil, make sure it's good, ensure your bolt carrier group locks to the rear, check the chamber, send the bolt carrier home, do a functions test, checking your safety, switching from safe to semi, pull the trigger, hold it squeezed. Going to do one charge while holding the trigger squeezed. Let the trigger go, you should hear a click. No, it's good. Charge it one more time. Move the weapon from safe or from semi to safe. Now you've completed a function check. To disengage the deployed stock, we have a little push button underneath here. Wide, easy to get with gloves, fingers, anything you want. You just push in the button, disengages the lock bar, which allows you to fold it to the side. Hold retention on this way, side this way. All you need to do, swing the stock out, locks up. I want to thank you for watching our assembly video. If you'd like to find more information, please visit our page, deadfootarms.com, or search Deadfoot Arms LLC on YouTube.